I think we'll go ahead and get started, and if some other alumni hop on, that's great. I just want to start by welcoming everyone. Thanks for taking time out of your evening to join us for the Engineering Technology Virtual Guerrilla Gathering. My name is Danielle Driscoll, and I'm the Assistant Director of Alumni and Constituent Relations here at PSU. You know, like everyone, we have adjusted how we have been hosting our alumni events. Traditionally, we're traveling, especially in the 4-state areas, taking fried chicken with us, visiting alumni, bringing some sort of speaker with us, but we've adjusted and of course switched to virtual like everyone else. These events have gone very well. We've been able to engage alumni from all over the place that we may typically not always get to visit. So that's been great. We've even had some international alumni join us. We've had a few from Africa, someone was in the Bahamas, Saudi Arabia, so a few different places. So that's great because of course we don't have the budget to travel to those places. So it's been really good engaging those alumni. So tonight, you know, this is pretty casual. We will have a couple announcements. We'll give an update on engineering technology, and we'll do some prizes. And then we'll also have some Q&A, of course. So in the meantime, while our speakers are speaking, if you do have some questions, feel free to use the chat function and we can circle back around to them. We do encourage you to mute yourself just so we're not hearing background noise and, you know, no one is disrupting the speaker. But yeah, if that all sounds good, I think we'll go ahead and get started. So I'll do some introductions here. So tonight we have Greg Murray with us. He is the chair of engineering technology and also a professor. We have Paul Herring, professor of plastics engineering, and Dr. Russ Rosmait, university professor of manufacturing engineering technology. Those are quite the mouthful titles. And we also have Katie George with us. She's the director of development for the College of Technology. So I am going to go ahead and hand it over to Greg.
All right. Well, it's good to see everybody, and I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us. I'm going to get my screen shared here if I can find the right thing. That's it. All right. So anyway, welcome to our etech Guerrilla Gathering. Like I said, happy to see you guys. For those of you that haven't seen the building in a while, that's what it looks like. Just a little friendly reminder there for you. So some of the things that we're going to talk about, I'm going to go through enrollment first and just show you a few things here. This is a trend from the last, I would say, 3 years. You'll notice that it's going down, and here recently, obviously COVID had a lot to do with that. A lot of the universities across the United States are having issues with enrollment right now. Students just don't want to come back right now. They don't find online learning attractive or whatever. So one thing to note here is that we did our best to keep everything that we could very hands-on. Most of our classes were hands-on. A few lectures were offered online, but for the most part, you know, our program, we're very hands-on oriented. So we want to make sure everybody had their chance to get their hands on the equipment and projects and things. So just one thing to note, you will notice that we have this mechanical CAD certificate program. We just initiated that last fall, or actually this semester was the first go around. So basically that's a 12 credit hour, it's mostly CAD course. So we got about 48 people in there right now. So anyway, one of the questions that came in from one of the alumni was, you know, what are we doing for recruiting? Recruiting is very important, and it's different now, and it's a little more difficult, but at the same time, we're finding new ways to reach out to students. So due to COVID, we have a really hard time getting into a high school anymore. I think I went to my first high school 2 weeks ago up in Kansas City. Went to the St. Thomas Aquinas, and I was able to get into the classroom and talk to some students. So that was refreshing, and it was nice to see. Some of the other recruiting things that we're doing right now, admissions just approved. The 4-state region is now totally in-state tuition for those students. So that's something that we're hoping will help drive enrollment a little bit and get some more students in here. So I don't know, John Eiley a couple of years ago retired, but he did not go away, which is a great thing. He actually is in charge of some of our recruiting opportunities or activities here for the College of Technology, one of which is the KTC open houses. So before the COVID hit, he was out there pounding on doors and getting high schools to come, and we would get up around 600 or 700 students attending our open house, which is where everything is running. All the students get to see the equipment in action, and there's a lot of energy and excitement about the event. So he did a really great job, and then COVID hit, so he switched directions, and all of the different programs within the building, we started making videos of our processes, and really everybody chipped in and put out a virtual product that's really nice. And so we've still been able to register anywhere from 400 to 500 students. And as Danielle mentioned before, now we're able to reach out to communities and schools that we normally wouldn't get to. So we've had people from international schools visiting our open house, other states that normally wouldn't get to come, and that sort of thing. So we get a little bit more visibility with some different schools seeing what we can do. So in the future, when we go back and we're back to face-to-face open houses, we do one in the fall and one in the spring. But when we go back to that format, we will probably also keep the virtual just so that we can reach out to those people that couldn't normally come. Something else that's new and coming down the pike pretty quick is the admissions office wrote a grant for a new CRM system, which is basically how we keep track of all of our prospective students, admissions activities, and that sort of thing. Financial aid as well is switching over to this new unified system. Unified is the name of the software. So what this will allow us to do is the way that we get our students, prospective students, with the way they interact with our offices right now, it's kind of antiquated. We're using an older GUS system, and it's just it's not the best system. This one will allow us to see who has actually sent out emails, text them, phone calls, postcards, you name it. So we are in the process of creating some postcards so that we can send out to our students that are interested in our program. So so this new system will help us track those students all the way from their junior year all the way on, and really hit them hard with the recruiting activity. Last year we also had some assistance from the Foundry Education Foundation, or the FEF. They sponsored or co-sponsored with us an activity where we had an outside company called Sightline. They helped us with some predictive analytics on enrollment and retention. So it was nice to have the FEF help support that program. We got some good data, pulling data from the systems that we already have in use here on the campus. And they just took that and kind of said, this is probably what we need to be looking at. And as far as looking at students and those students that would actually come here and that sort of thing. So FEF has been nice enough. They are sponsoring that analytical activity again this year. So we're going to work with Sightline again over the summer to gather data and to help us get those students that we need. So, and then finally, this is not that there's other things that we're doing, but the last one that I want to talk about tonight is alumni recruiting. So before the COVID hit, Scott Donaldson and admissions and several of our programs were talking about how do we get our alumni out there and get them trained to go into a high school on their own and actually talk about our programs and just tell the story about PSU or etech or whatever the program might be. So and so we want to give a little bit of training just so that there's certain things that we can and can't say, but we want to make sure that our alumni are well equipped to go to these recruiting events at schools and things like that. So hopefully we're going to get that back on track here shortly. And then when we're able to get into the schools, we will be ready, and our alumni will be ready as well. So those are some of the recruiting things that we're doing right now. This is a lot. I'm not going to, throw all this at you. You can kind of read over it, but just hit a few of the highlights. So just what's new in engineering technology. So we've got some things going on in curriculum. In electronics, we have a new, for those of you that don't know, Jim Lookadoo retired a couple of years ago, and we lost a lot of expertise in the telecommunication and aeronautics area. So we're replacing that with some automation and other things. So we have embedded systems and automation. So automation is a new emphasis area in electronics, which also flows into our what used to be electromechanical in the mechanical program. We replaced it with a new automation emphasis as well. We also, a couple of years ago, started the 2-year plastics technology degree. It's a applied associates of science degree, and it's basically our 4-year program, and we removed a lot of the math and the chemistry from it, and it focuses more on the hands-on activities like processing and things like that. So the actual activities that you see on the shop floor. We need to do a better job of recruiting for that program. It's also a little bit harder to recruit for that program. So, but we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the plastics area. We also started a mechanical CAD certificate. Like I said, it just came into fruition this semester, and we already have 48 students in that. Now, 48 students are actually mostly mechanical students with a design emphasis, because it kind of falls right in their lap. I mean, they've got all the classes that are required for that certificate. So we're hoping to get that out to some high schools, some CTE programs. Those are career and technical education programs. And hopefully we can get some people to bite on that. Also send it out to local companies, and it's something that we might be able to do remotely to get people certified. So some of the things we're looking at: power emphasis and electronics. We're looking at starting some additive manufacturing programs, either through an emphasis area or a minor, and then some additional certificate programs. We've also done a little bit of renovations in the KTC. Last summer, we ripped out all the pink, baby blue, and white tiles that are in the hallways from the 1990s. So we were getting pretty dated. So we ripped all that up on the downstairs and polished all the concrete. And then upstairs, we put a nice carpet upstairs. So it looks pretty good. Invite you guys to, anytime you're in the area, come visit and see what we're doing there. Also, the plastics testing lab got a new overhaul, and that was due to some grant money that we received. So that was kind of nice. We've got some photos of that here in a little bit. And then equipment. There's a lot of equipment that's coming in, and you can see that for yourself. And we'll go over that a little bit more when we get to the individual programs. So let's start off with electronics. We'll just go alphabetical order. Electronics, engineering, technology. So basically, we have 2 emphasis areas now. We have embedded systems and automation, and there's also a minor. So you can see over there on the right-hand corner, that's one of our banner ads that we have up in the building. Automation is a great thing to have. So if you're in any of our programs, automation is as a part of each one of them. So it's really a good opportunity to get a minor in automation. So that you know a little bit more about automated systems when you get into the workforce. We also we're starting a new focus on power. So Black & Veatch has been working closely with us for years, but now we're kind of focusing a little bit more on substation design and a curriculum that's built around the power industry. So coal-fired plants, solar energy, wind farms, all that stuff. So we've been working with them to develop some curriculum, and hopefully within the next year, we'll have an emphasis area in power. Now, not only are they helping us with the curriculum, they're also helping us financially with some really nice scholarships. So last year they started a scholarship program where we have 6 full-time renewable scholarships, full tuition scholarships. So they're about $7,200 per student, and it is what it is. It's basically paying their tuition for the year. And if they continue to show progress within electronics, notably in the power arena, they will get to continue that scholarship. So they can get up to $29,000 by the time they're out in scholarship money. But not only are they getting scholarships, they're also offering summer internships. So they can go up to Kansas City area and get more hands-on experience that way. And then they also have mentors from Black and Beach that will work directly with students to help them answer questions or, guide them in that career path. So it's a really nice gift that we're receiving from Black and Beach, and it's really helping out our electronics area. Just a couple of things. I'm trying to show just a couple of pictures of some of the new equipment that we have. This is a cobot. It's basically a robot that when it's in use, if it would happen to bump into somebody, it actually just stops. Okay, so it's very safety oriented. It's easy to program, and that's a little cart right there, so we can move it around. We can take it to plastics. We can take it to career fairs and that sort of thing. What this is it's set up to, you place candy bars in here. There's a camera up here, and a student will push a button for which type of candy bar they want, and the camera recognizes a Mr. Good bar, and it will go over and pick up a Mr. Good bar if that's what they choose. So it's kind of a neat little, activity for drawing the attention of the students at a career fair. This is a PLC simulation. So basically there's 4 motors right here, and they're variable speed and then variable direction. And these are the controllers right here that control the speed and direction. So what's neat about it is there's a PLC here, of course, and that's the brains of the system. But here's the interface, and you can actually see it gives you data. You can turn things on and off, switch the direction. And then there's also a PLC station out here where they can control that. It's basically simulating what you might see in a plant. So they also tied it and created software for your phone app. So they created an app on your phone that you can see the same interface as you can right here. And it's pretty cool. So it's like you're a manager or a supervisor and you're looking at your phone and you're like, oh, why isn't motor number 1 turning or doing its job? So they can quickly make changes or retrieve data on the fly. So it's kind of nice. Another thing that they came up with or purchased recently is a software. It's a simulation software called Emulate 3D. And it basically allows a facility to design their setup before they even get into their building, or their new area. So they can look and put together different configurations of conveyor lines or whatnot. There's sensors there that read the barcodes, and it tells it which conveyor system it's supposed to go down. So if you've ever seen an Amazon distribution center, you've seen the boxes flying left and right, and you're like, wow, how did they do that? Well, this is kind of the same type of setup. So we just recently purchased this software, and it's just what you would see in industry as well. So it's pretty neat. So Clark Shaver, he's the coordinating professor for this program, and he's been doing a lot of great things, getting more hands-on activities for our students. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to turn it over to Russ real quick. Russ, I'll drive the slides for you. Just let me know when you want me to switch the page. And Russ, he's not going to tell you this, but he's been hit with a couple of pretty prestigious awards here over the past 2 years. One through ICI and one through, is it AFS or FEF?
AFS.
AFS. So he's on their Hall of Fame or Wall of Fame or whatever they call their prestigious award.
Hall of Honor.
Hall of Honor. There you go. So what's so neat about that, though, is I think that he is the first academic that's actually received this award. Usually it goes to professionals in the industry, and Russ just does a great job for us in the Foundry, and He's getting some well-deserved recognition. So good job, Russ, and keep up the good work. So go ahead with your section and let me know when you want to flip the page.
So this is a little project we're working on as part of our recruitment effort. And we created a mini foundry, and this mini foundry is, these are some component parts for that. And there's a flask there, a traditional flask open drag, and a little tiny rammer, and a sprue cutter over there, and a little match plate that we make in my regular metal casting class. And this is going to be used to when we have small groups of students, like the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts, come in, and they will all have this little flask. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see that we have a number of them. So we have about 20, 25, 30 of these. And then all these little match plates. So there's a little frying pan up there. There's a little PSU like name tag kind of thing. And so everybody will have a chance to make a little mold, and then we pour a little casting. It also is small enough that we can take this to a high school or take it to a recruitment event and have everybody make a few little molds in sand. And then we have a little tiny melting pot that we pour a little bit of metal in, and they can all leave with a casting. I don't have a picture of it, but I think if you go to the next slide, there's kind of the ramming setup. But we have another match plate that makes a little top, which is really kind of cool. So once you finish it, we cast a little top, and the kids can spin that, and it goes flying across the floor, and it's a pretty nice little piece. But this is the kind of the setup. And I don't know if the next slide is also ramming that. Yeah, there it is. And you can see how small it is. This one student we have, Sarah Chase, she actually machined all these flasks for us, and drilled out where the pins go in, and put all those in. So she did all the work in that. And she's actually organizing a Society of Women Engineers event for April 10th. Along with plastics, and we're going to do molten metal magic and plastics. If it all comes through with COVID, we still don't know what's going to happen, but we're hoping we can have a small group of people come in, and we'll make some castings. So pretty neat little project, and she really took on the project and made it all happen. So pretty nice. She's a great student. Next slide is some other activities we've been doing. So there's a group called the Steel Founders Society of America. Their mission is to promote the application of steel castings. And every year they have an event. And in 2019, their first one was to produce a Viking axe. And this was the Viking axe that Pitt State produced. Two students worked on this project. It won most captivating design. I thought we were going to get this back, but the guy who runs the program, his brother liked it so much that he bought it. So we didn't get that one back. But if you go to the next picture for me, Greg, you can see that part of the project, there's the axe on the right-hand side there. The friends down in Wood Tech, they did use their 5-axis mill and mill us out a nice handle for that. And then the two guys in the middle there, those are two students, Logan Roseberry and Mike Paddock. That's their picture with Ben Abbott. So Ben Abbott is the one of the judges, and he's from the show Forged in Fire. And then of course, I had to have my picture taken with him as well. So he is a judge and judges the competition every year. Last summer during the pandemic, the next slide is going to show you our other little projects. So the 2020 was to make a Bowie knife. And so this is the Bowie knife in the middle. That was the raw product, the raw cast knife. And then that's right after pouring on the right-hand side. And then the left-hand side is the kind of the shell broken off. We used investment casting. And this is Mike Paddock's project again. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see that's what it looked like finished. And it won best pommel, which is that end little fist piece on the end there, and the best guard of any of the knives that were submitted for recognition. The entire knife was investment cast, so Mike actually machined the entire die. We shot those in waxes and then took them, because he wanted so many of them, he made like 20 knives, so we have a massive collection. And then the other thing, this knife went up for auction, and so we were trying to get it back, and luckily we have an alumni who was willing to bid on it, and that was Steve Sikorsky. So Steve, are you on? Well, Steve's on there. Thank you, Steve. Steve actually bought the knife for us and gave it back to us. So we have the knife back, and we're trying to figure out what we're gonna how we're gonna display that. But it's a beautiful beautiful knife. And actually, we can't call it a knife. That's just a letter opener, just a very large letter opener, and we open many letters with it. If you go to the next slide, then the 2021 competition for the Steel Founders of America is the Thor's Hammer, and this is our entry into that competition. And so the hammer had to meet some pretty actually kind of tough restrictions. It couldn't weigh more than 6 pounds, and the entire thing could not be more than 20 inches long. So they had a little bit of restrictions on it. You can see this is made by a process called investment casting, and it was also, so we 3D printed all of the parts, and then we partnered with Monett Metals in Monett, Missouri, and they actually cast the 4140 steel for us, and that steel is an anvil alloy that we typically make anvils with. And they cast it. And on the left picture, you can see there is a little like pouring, and that is the actual logo of the Steel Founders Society of America. So I always get accused of putting their logo into something and trying to capture extra points. I think it works, but we don't know. We haven't won yet, so we'll see what happens. But we made a few of these. In fact, we're going to make a few other ones just for display, maybe some out of bronze, maybe some out of aluminum. So we're currently working on those. And then next slide. I don't know. I think I'm done here. Oh, yeah. So PSU is Pittsburg State is funded and supported by the Foundry Educational Foundation. And in 2019, it was our 40th anniversary. And so we got another 6 years of accreditation, so we're still certified by them, and they give us great financial support and support our students with scholarship and program funding. So I think that's it. Is there another? I think there's another one there. That's it. Oh, yeah. That's it. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Any questions? All right.
I got a question. Just to be clear, the flasks weren't for the Girl Scouts, right?
Excuse me?
The flasks were not for the Girl Scouts.
Yeah, they were. We used them with the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts.
But you weren't making them flasks.
No, we're making them
about drinking, Russ. Drinking.
Okay.
Oh, those kind of flasks.
There you go.
I get. Yeah, that's the confused.
Reel them in.
Right.
Michael, we're on the same page.
Right. So a little. Those type of flasks are not the ones you used to sneak into the football game.
Got it.
Okay.
Right. All right. Very good.
Well done.
Okay, so we'll move on to mechanical engineering technology next. And like I said, we've started a new mechanical CAD certificate. We're hoping to use this to get people interested in design. And while they're in the certificate program, maybe they will want to actually go ahead and pursue one of our degrees. One of them being mechanical. So if they get their certificate, we're trying to come up with some other certificates as well, so that we can have stackable credentials that will actually count towards our bachelor's degree. So we'll keep you updated on that one. Like I said, we changed over our electromechanical emphasis area to automation. The automation name or tag is more common in today's industry, and you hear a lot about automation. So we thought it was time to switch over from electromechanical to the automation nomenclature. So some of the other things we're doing is, if you remember our CAD labs, we have about 70 computers in 2 of our CAD labs, and we received some CARES funding to actually upgrade those monitors from, we had some smaller, I believe they were 21-inch wide screens, but they really just weren't, they're hard to read. Okay, they're small. When you're doing CAD work, you want a little bit bigger monitor. So we thought this would be good use in our CAD labs to upgrade to the 32-inch high definition monitors. So those are actually starting to be replaced tomorrow in our labs. So that's pretty good news. And then we get a lot of requests from students and senior projects and things like that to create 3D prints, or even in the Foundry, Russ's area, they've purchased several new 3D printers. We just don't want students playing with our high dollar 3D printers, so we purchased 4 smaller versions that are pretty durable, but they're also somewhat disposable. So a printer head on our nice 3D printer in the lab, it costs around $4,000. We can buy 6 or 8 of these before we even get to that point. So they do good quality work, and those actually came in yesterday. So we're pretty excited about that. We're starting to set those up for the students. But another nice thing is the material is quite a bit cheaper. It's only about $20 a roll versus the $150 a roll on our other machines. So and again, we're continuing to offer SolidWorks certifications within a lot of our curriculum. So we're up to probably 6 or 7 certifications that our students can get by the time they get out of our mechanical program. So, and these certificates are also available to the other 3 programs as well. So this just a little shot of a long-lasting, or we've been doing the moon buggy, or now it's called the NASA rover challenge, for 22 years, I think, ever since its inception. So we haven't got to do it the past 2 years, and unfortunately we've had a couple of pretty good buggies that just didn't get a chance to roll. So we were pretty excited about it, and then they got shut down, and then they shut it down again this year. So the nice thing about it is it's usually a mechanical and a manufacturing combination for these senior design projects. In the past couple of years, though, we've gotten quite a bit of help from plastics or projects from the plastics area as well. So this year they're doing some thermoformed wheels that actually turned out really nice. I was pretty impressed with them. But unfortunately, you won't. Yeah.
This is actually 25 years.
Is it 25 years?
Yeah, because I think we have a plaque downstairs in manufacturing that says 95 or 94 or something. So
okay.
I think we're at 25 years. So it's been a long time.
Long time. Yeah. So anyway, in those 25 years, we've won 13 awards, I think I counted, anywhere from winning the competition 3 times to winning design competitions, or PIT awards, or various awards. So we're pretty good at this little project. So something that was pretty exciting this year is we did some we crossed over, and we did some projects for other departments or other programs in our area. So we had some mechanical and manufacturing kids that had Paul Herring from our plastics area as a customer. And what we needed over there was, Paul might talk about our bottles here in a little bit, but we do a water bottle, and in order to create the lid, it's in 2 pieces. So you have to put that little button on top. I don't know if you can see it, it's right here. You have to snap it in on this lid, and it's not the easiest thing to do by hand. After you've done about 10 or 20 of them, your hand's pretty sore, and because it has to slip over a detent in order to not pull back out when you try to open the lid. What they did was they designed and built from scratch. They built this 4 port configuration here to where they can do 4 lids at any given time. So it's basically you manually load all the pieces and then you slide it in. It's safety. You know, it's in plexiglass. You can't get your hands in there. It's 2-button design where you have to have 2 positive to make sure that your hands are out of the way. And then it's pneumatic driven. So it's got a piston right here, pushes down, and it pops those little buttons in for you. So that is really nice. And I'm sure it's really, you know, sped up the production process for the plastics bottle process. So, but anyway, so there's a lot of neat things going on. Unfortunately, we just aren't able to get out and do the travel like we have in the past to do these competitions. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Paul. Paul, you there?
I am here.
Okay, so you let me know when you want to switch slides.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, this first slide shows some things in our testing lab. And if you haven't been in the building in the last year, you wouldn't know that that was our testing lab. And the best thing is high and low. We have a ceiling in the testing lab now. Made a big difference on acoustics and sound, and you can actually have a conversation in there now. And then the floor has been polished, like Greg mentioned. So made a big difference. We jettisoned some equipment that was not working and not being used. We cleaned out a bunch of things. We have new fixtures. We have some new equipment that's coming here in the next month. A new universal tester. We're going to keep the old Instron for a while, but we're getting a new universal testing machine. And one thing I don't think we mentioned was that we have a new faculty member. Bob Susnick retired a couple of years ago, and a guy named Dan Spielbush has joined the faculty in plastics, and he's taken over the teaching. He's teaching the testing class as well as composites and our design classes. And he's doing an awesome job. Dan is an alum of our plastics program from around '98, I believe. And then he worked in the automotive industry for several years in injection molding and manufacturing assembly. And then he came back and got a master's degree and did some teaching. So he's in charge of this testing lab, and you won't know the place when you see it. And the picture on the lower left is in that back room. We took a couple of truckloads of junk out of that room, and we wanted to set up a little computer lab. And you probably remember the one in manufacturing where students can go in there and they have all the software they need for manufacturing. Well, we have one similar. We have 3 workstations in there and a plotter. So it's going to be nice for our simulation software. We have some interface with our injection molding machines that we're going to install in that room. Kind of some Industry 4.0 software that we're working with. And that's where we'll have the new Sigma software that we're going to talk about here in a minute. So I love going by there. I see students in there every day now. And a lot of times when I leave in the evening, there's students in there working. So that's really turning out to do what we wanted it to do. So as you can see there, we have the new 2-year program. We're trying to get that thing up to where we think we can have quite a few students in that program and place them. A lot of companies say they need more technicians than engineers. So we think that's an area of growth for the plastics program. We awarded $80,000 in scholarships in the last year. So that's kind of a new threshold, up from about 60,000. Now, a lot of these improvements, especially in the testing lab, are being paid for with some grants from NIST and CARES. So we've been busy. And if we go to the next slide, I don't want anyone to be sad, but those are our 2 extrusion lines. And many of you that I see on the screen here got to run some of those machines, but all of that is going to disappear here in a few weeks. Monday, a company is coming in to take photographs of that equipment and a lot of other stuff. we're going to have an online auction with a company called Equip Bid out of Kansas City. So the green extruder there on the right was built in 1969. I think there's only a couple of us on this call that were built before 1969, but that's when that extruder was made, and it's going to go away. And I don't really care where it goes. I think Mike McGrew might want to buy that and start a little extrusion business in his garage or something.
Don't tempt me, Paul.
Maybe Miller needs that over in Springfield. I don't know.
That would be a no.
So anyway.
Actually, that was my senior year project.
Yep.
To get that thing running with Shad Kling, if you recall.
Yep.
Yep. I
So
think we spent more time in the lab drinking out of those flasks from Russ.
Well, I know you guys kind of stole my joke. I was going to tell Russ I was all excited about a flask, and then I saw it was that kind of flask.
No.
So this slide shows some of the new equipment. If you see there on the left, the 2 injection machines, we've had those for a couple of years, and both of those have robots on them. So the plastics majors and other students that want to learn about it, they're coming down and we can do some robot programming. We're working with a company that sells end-of-arm tooling components, and so I've got a few little lessons and some lab activities on putting together the little all the different components to make the end-of-arm tool. So it's been fun for me to learn some of that new stuff, but the students really enjoy it. So we're trying to upgrade our injection area quite a bit. We spent a lot of time with our blow molding area probably 10 years ago, but we finally have a chance and some funding through grants to upgrade our extrusion area. It's long overdue. So the extruder there kind of in the middle top row, that is a twin screw compounding extruder. And to the right of that, you see that it's a what they call a clamshell barrel. It will open up so it can be cleaned. The barrel has removable segments so that we can customize the screw design. So that is being, that was bought with some NIST money kind of through the Kansas Polymer Research Center. And it is due anytime. It was in customs last week. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get here from California, but that will be able to do some compounding, some recycling type activities that we want to do, and we'll probably coordinate some of those things with the Polymer Research Center. Then below that, in the middle, is a blown film tower that we're going to add. It goes up to about a 12-foot height for the top of the film tower. And we haven't had blown film for a long time. We used to back in the old days, but we're really excited to have the capability to make blown film. We're also getting a coat hanger die with a roll stack so we can make cast film and thin sheet. So we'll have 2 different film setups, and they'll go with a single screw 1.5-inch extruder that is being donated by Millicron. So as we kind of put the specs together for this stuff and solicited quotes or bids, we talked to Millicron, and they were interested in being more of a partner with us in the extrusion area. So they are donating a new extruder. So what that did was that allowed us to spend a little more money on some downstream things. So we're buying a different vacuum and cooling system, a trough system, a second cooling bath, and also a belted haul off. There was a picture of the belted haul off with that Maplin twin screw extruder, and it's older than the 1969 deal. So we really needed a new haul off, and so it's going to look a lot different next fall. So we're pretty excited about that, but we've got a lot of work to do. We've been working on the specs and bids and all of the questions and material information and you get stuff that you guys do every day, probably on plant layout and those kind of things. But we're really excited about it. We're going to be offering some workshops in conjunction with that. And for extrusion, we'll also do a injection molding workshop. And we want to do a blow molding workshop as well for technician type folks. So not much going on really. Just kind of a slow year. So.
All right, thanks, Paul. So we'll move on real quick to the masters. We're getting close to the end here. So we also have a Masters of Engineering Technology program, and basically what it is it's like an operations management type master's degree. So we teach our people that have technical expertise in the areas that you see here, and we help them become better managers and supervisors and that sort of thing. So also wanted to remind you that this degree can be completely finished online. So if you were thinking about it, or you're thinking about, getting another credential or degree, you're more than welcome to sign up for our Masters in Engineering Technology, get to work with some of your real professors, and welcome back if you decide to go ahead and take advantage of that. So just another few bullets here. We gave away nearly 109,000 in engineering technology scholarships last year. A lot of them were in electronics and plastics, as we've already mentioned. And then one of the grants, we have 32,000 available for the 2-year plastics program. So we're hoping that this will help entice some local high school students or CTE type students to get into our program. So we've got a poster in the works, and we're getting ready to send it out to high schools here in the next week or so. And then don't forget, if you're so inclined, or if you've been a part of our company days in the past, there in the last week of September, we have a couple of days where we allow companies to come in and recruit our students for internships and full-time employment. It also gives you a chance to help renew partnerships and do some networking while you're here. Last year we had to go virtual, but this year we've already made a decision to have it face-to-face again. So that'll be later in September, so keep your eyes open for that. And then what are we looking forward to here in the future? So obviously recruiting is one of our top priorities, and that's something that we're focusing on right now. So like I showed you in the previous slide, we've got a lot of activities there, and we're doing what we can. We're full-time faculty and administrators, and sometimes it's just, recruitment is hard to do. We enjoy doing it when we get the opportunity, and hopefully here shortly we'll be able to get back out to the high schools and get back in front of the students and build our programs. So we're also looking into an additive manufacturing emphasis or minor. So as you noticed, we've got several different additive manufacturing processes coming into our building. I don't know that I mentioned that we actually have a grant that's going to allow us to purchase a metal 3D printer. So we feel that we're to the point now where we need to start offering some emphasis areas or a certificate or a minor in additive manufacturing. That's where it's headed. So we need to make sure that we're a part of that. And then we're continuing to update. We're continuing to update equipment throughout the programs. We've hit electronics here recently pretty hard. Where plastics, our alumni and our grant opportunities have really paid off for us here in the past couple of years. Mechanical is getting some great new stuff, but we need to focus more on our manufacturing program. We've got some CNC machining centers that are starting to show their age, and we need to update and get with the newer technologies. So that's something that we're going to focus on here in the near term. And then, as Paul said, we're going to start offering some workforce development workshops. So, and that's throughout all of our program areas. Plastics has a pretty good plan in place what we need to do there. But electronics is starting to come up with some ideas, and we're also looking in the mechanical, like the design area, to do some workshops as well. So anyway, that's basically it for the PowerPoint, and I'm not sure how I unshare, stop sharing. So anyway, that's us in a nutshell. I know it's a big nutshell, and like Paul said, we're not doing a whole lot. We're doing quite a bit actually. So we've got great faculty working with us, and without them, this wouldn't happen. And we also have a lot of great alumni, and without you guys, it just wouldn't happen. We can't coexist, without you guys. So appreciate having you there. So anyway, Danielle.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. I think we'll just open the floor up for questions. So if anyone has a question, feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask.
Are you guys planning on running any printer filament through your new extruder?
Paul.
Well, we've had a senior project team working on that, and they made some pretty decent filament this year. Unfortunately, our student-made machine from a few years ago wasn't working too well, so one of the kids brought in their own printer, and we made some parts. But they're making some decent filament on one of our extruders.
Hey, Greg, this is Mike Miller of Polyfab in Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
Early in the conversation, you'd mentioned the 4-state region had moved to in-state tuition.
Yes.
President Harris and Vice President Biden were talking about reimbursing for college. So when do I receive my 5 years of fees back on out of state?
That's a different guerrilla gathering. That's Howard Smith and President Scott, I believe.
Do I file that paperwork with Russ, or is it with Paul?
That's a good question.
Russ, any input on that one?
No, it's actually not a forgiveness. It's just it's shifting it. They're shifting it to, for those people who never went to college, they get to pay. It's a right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I appreciate it though.
Yeah,
Mike, if I could ever get you to come to town to see me, I'd take you to lunch. How's that?
I'm in town all the time. I try to go see Russ and he won't let me in the building. It's something about a lockdown.
Come on.
The offer's out there.
How's your printer? You got some pretty good printers, didn't you recently?
We've got a whole bunch of new stuff.
Yeah. I need to come over and see that.
Well, the door's always open for Paul.
Oh, thank you.
Russ, I mean, I don't know. Someday.
Both my nephews are moving to Kansas City.
Well, that scares me. Is it on the Missouri side or the Kansas side?
Kansas side.
Okay, good.
But you need to come up and pay us a visit up there.
I'm going to fill in the group here on one of your nephews that used to work at MacArthur's as a bouncer.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell a real quick story. There was, and he and I were really good friends. We still are good friends. But there was a night that I was making my way up the stairs and I saw him and he hit somebody over the head with a mag light. And, obviously things didn't go well for that guy. But either way, that nephew of yours became a policeman. So
he did
legally kill me. So I'm glad he's on the Kansas side.
He doesn't do police stuff anymore, though.
Okay, well,
yeah. Gave that up
good.
Many years ago.
Yeah,
Many
we haven't seen each other face to face, which is intentional.
Okay. Right.
So, either way.
Any other questions?
Yeah, hi, I'm Brett Lemano at Nike. And Paul, I'm just kind of curious. I see a lot of great new extrusion equipment and a lot of great downstream that goes along with that. Is there ever any interest in getting into more co-extrusion rather than mono extrusion?
Well, that's kind of the next phase, I think, Brett.
Mhm.
We ended up buying equipment from Lab Tech
Mhm.
out of Thailand.
Yep.
Just because of the cost.
Mhm.
And what we talked with them about was the ability, maybe a couple of years down the road to try to add. I know there'd be quite a bit of modification, but when we do our layout, we're going to try to keep that in mind so that we could do some multi-layer stuff at some point. But that's kind of the next phase.
Okay, great.
We need to talk with you and get some input on that, on how that should be done or what we need to be thinking about. So.
Yeah, and I do think it's probably worth, there's the most technological supplier of that equipment is in Texas, and they might be able to help you out a little bit also. It's something worth talking to.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Paul, is PTech live or is that Zoom or what's the story?
Yes, it's both.
So we can show up live if we want, if we're okay with it.
Yes, you can.
What is that, masked, I would assume?
Yes.
Okay. And that's 19th, is that when it is?
April 19th.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Excellent.
Paul and Greg mentioned SigmaSoft, and for some of you, you know that we use Magma, and Magma is a sister company of Sigma. And you want to explain what it is, Paul? Because you use it, Sigma.
I thought we had a slide on that, Greg. Or I thought I saw it on one of the slides.
Greg is muted.
Yes, it was way back in that one of the first slides that had all this
Okay.
stuff on it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Well,
No, it's just that we use Magma and Sigma as their sister company, so it's another simulation package that's really high end for plastics majors now. So
we've been talking with Mr. Sikorsky down on row 3 here that I'm looking at about implementing the plastics version of Magma for a lot of years. And so finally, we kind of got around to trying to upgrade some things, and it's pretty unbelievable. We're not sure how we're going to be able to, like you say, we're just scratching the surface. Well, Dan Spielbush and I have had, this is the 5th week of training for 2 hours on Monday and Friday afternoons. And we've come a long way. We've learned a lot, but we're still scratching the surface. And we have to figure out how we're gonna, we may be developing a new class. We might have our mold design students using parts of SigmaSoft, but then really to do the high-end stuff, we might develop a new class for that because it's amazing. We'll try to demonstrate some of that at our advisory council meeting on the 19th. And Steve, I need to get you the information so you can attend here for sure, but certainly through Zoom, because we're going to try to show some of the things that we've learned. And I mean, it's amazing compared to what we've done in the last 10, 15 years with Mold Flow Advisor. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, our staff said that you guys are coming along great. So they're excited to see what you can do, and along with the students. I think you and Rosmait need to develop some type of flasks, either plastics or at least the castings of something. I think it'd be a great hit.
Yeah, Paul's got those flasks right behind him on his shelf over there. You can see how big those flasks are.
I'd be willing to donate some funds for that.
I second that.
I'll second that with Mike. I'll go in on that.
All in favor? All
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. There you go.
Beautiful. Flasks.
The old student government coming out in me.
All right.
State student government. Hey, Russ, not a question, but just more of a comment. I really love how you've continued your doctorate in what you're doing and traveling overseas and promoting the program for the university. So just kudos to you, and I love following what you're doing and how you're promoting Pitt State. So keep it.
Tyler Banka down there in the bottom row, he entered for 6 months in Australia. So he was one of the people who got to go do that. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Yeah.
Second guy.
He was the second guy to go down. We've had over, I think 6. We're at 7. I think, I can't remember. Can't keep count anymore.
Yeah, it's a good deal. I learned a lot over there through the co-op. It was something that Pitt State and Russ helped me get down there, go with $500 in my pocket, and they dropped me off in a new country and sink or swim. So no, it was a blast. I learned a lot about the industry, and it's things like that that make a difference. And not only in my life in a professional sense, but for the school as well. So it's what brings me back each year to help out and as an alumni, and it's good to know that the school's still doing that. So I hope that continues, Russ. That was a real good experience for me, Tommy McLennan, and a few more.
Yeah, we had to stop. The Australia is actually closed down completely, and so they're not even letting anybody in. And the last student I had there departed last July, so July 2020, and he almost couldn't get out of the country. He was locked into the state of Victoria, and they had to cross the border before midnight so he could fly out of Sydney. So he had to drive 12 hours to get to the airport at Sydney to get him out of the country. So they were locked down, and they had very few cases, which is amazing, of COVID. And he had quite a harrowing experience to get out of the country. But we hope it opens back up again. That would be a nice. And Greg obviously lets me go visit down there when I have an intern. So it's a pretty good time. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, good deal. Good deal. Like I said, it's a big deal, and like I said, I hope it continues.
I hope so.
Any other questions? No? Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on then. I just have a couple of updates from the alumni office, just pretty brief. Did everyone get your Pitt State magazines in the mail this week?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah? No, not yet. Tyler, you didn't? Okay, well, if you don't get it in the next couple days, let us know and we'll send you one in the mail. We should have pretty updated information for most of you since you registered for this event, but the magazine would have been sent out before. So just let me know and we're happy to put a copy in the mail to you. So that's been exciting. Lots of buzz about that the last couple of days, and they did a big revamp of the magazine. So it looks a little different, has some kind of different content than typically. So it'll be great to check out once you receive that. Something else we do in our office, we have a monthly e-newsletter. It goes out on the first of the month, so hopefully most of you got that today. And if not, you can view it online. You also can sign up for it. It's just kind of a month-by-month review of kind of what's going on here at PSU, as well as some opportunities for our alumni, and then also some upcoming events like this event tonight. So it's always something to kind of nice to check out and kind of stay up to date on what's going on here at PSU. One of our programs that we have at the Alumni Center, that's one of our more important programs, is our Gorilla License Plate Program. So those license plates are available in Kansas, Missouri, and also now in Oklahoma. So how those license plates work is we ask for a $30 donation to qualify for the plate, and that goes to scholarship dollars. The main source of it is the Alumni Legacy Scholarship. Of course, if you wanted a plate and you wanted your money to go to plastics or somewhere else in engineering technology, that would be great too. But they look great on the road. It's great PR for PSU, and it's great to pay it forward to some students here at PSU. So just something to keep in mind if you're interested. I'm not a salesperson, I'm just putting it out there. So it's a great way to—
You're doing good.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Danielle, where do we go to get that again? Where do we go to?
So you can go to our website, pittstate.edu/alumni. We also have another URL for it, and it's just pittstate.edu/license plate. No S on the end. So it's really easy. There's an online form for Kansas and Missouri. You can do that all online. Oklahoma, that has to be actually done through their state. We don't really manage the forms on our end. But yeah, if you're in Missouri, you can get a personalized plate. So that's a little unique, but I encourage you to check it out if you don't have one. So yeah. And last but not least, we, as I mentioned earlier, we haven't really been traveling much, but last fall we did have some events. We call them Taste of Home, where we brought Chicken Annie's Original to a few locations within a couple hours of Pittsburgh. They're all pre-packaged, individually packed fried chicken dinners. Our alumni love their fried chicken. So it was kind of a drive-through type event. Alumni just came in their cars, they drove through, we gave them their meals, and they moved on. So went home and enjoyed them. So we're gonna do that again this spring. We're actually gonna be in Wichita next Thursday, the 8th, and then we'll be in Kansas City on Tuesday, the 13th. And then we'll also be in Tulsa, Northwest Arkansas, Springfield, and Topeka here in the coming weeks. So if you're in any of those areas and you would like some fried chicken, I encourage you to check that out. We're also bringing some bottles of Maldelli creamy Italian dressing. So you can add that on as well. So hopefully you kind of get your fix of Southeast Kansas without having to be here. And you know, it's nice to see some familiar faces when we're out there as well. So yeah.
Danielle, when did you say St. Louis? I'm sorry, I missed that date.
St. Louis didn't quite make our 2.5 hour road trip. But I'll work on that one next time. Okay.
Well, keep us in mind. You got a few gorillas up there that would love to see you.
Yes. We were hoping to take a trip this summer, like to St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, a few other places up there where we know there are a lot of gorillas and a lot of technology gorillas, but you know, of course, we're not able to do that. So
Katie's willing to drive that far to see me.
Yeah.
So I mean, make an effort, would you?
I know.
Bring some next time.
I know it. Yeah, we're trying to get up there, so it's definitely on our list. I can't promise fried chicken, but we'll do our best. So yeah.
I do appreciate us doing this because it works out well for people like me who come on the West Coast that I can't make it to any of this kind of stuff. So it works out really well.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. This has definitely given us an opportunity to connect with some other gorillas kind of in our outlying areas. So I'm glad you're able to tune in. Yeah.
Brett, are you in St. Louis as well, that area with Nike?
We obviously have a plan. I started in that facility, but I'm located in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? No? Okay, well, we do have some prizes to give away if that sounds like a plan. So I'll get started. We will get these in the mail hopefully tomorrow, if not tomorrow by Monday. So you'll be receiving some goodies from us. So hopefully you enjoy that. So we'll start with, we have a Once a Gorilla, Always a Gorilla koozie and these cool red sunglasses. And this will go to Ashton. Woo! It's always so quiet when everyone's muted. So we have, let's see here, this Pitt State cutting board, and this will go to Tyler.
Thank you, appreciate it. That's awesome.
We have these Pitt State coffee mugs, and we have some Gorilla Roast coffee from one of our local coffee shops, Signet. And we will have one of these go to Steve.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then also one to Inya. Is that who you? Yeah. Okay. I think 2 summers ago we met in New Mexico, right?
Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. So it's nice to see you. Yeah. And then we have this split face blanket, throw blanket. Has a big split face on it and it says Pitt State. And this will go to Blake.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we have some Pitt State coasters that have the Champions Plaza Gorilla on them. And those will go to Mike Miller.
Can you include a flask with that, please?
I'll see what I can do, okay?
Thank you.
And we have a cooler bag, and this will go to Mike McGrew, sorry.
Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Never enough coolers for me. You'll learn that.
Perfect. This one is pretty nice. So, and then I guess last but not least, sort of, we, Greg kind of hooked us up with some cool prizes from some student projects. Let's see here if I can show you. I have a lot of windows open, so it's not popping up right here. Okay, here we go. So we have some party platters, and we will send one of these to Tyler Boss, Craig, and Zaw, if he's still on here, I think. And then we'll, okay, great. And then we also have these Pitzel sets. So it's like the Pitzel makers, like the French cookie presses that one of the students made for a project. So those will go to Logan, Elena, and Brett.
Oh, no way. I get a cookie press? I always wanted one of those. It's really awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
No, those are, I remember Russ showing those off, and I really wanted one whenever he was showing them off. So thank you. I do appreciate it.
Awesome. Very good. Okay. Well,
You gotta cook, Logan. And get that recipe out.
Oh,
there's a recipe.
I cook a lot.
that's right.
There's a recipe comes with it.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm very excited. I like cookies.
They'll make something neat. Make sure you send us a picture once you make some, okay? Or just send some to us. Either one is fine. So. All right. Like I said, we'll get all of those in the mail to you. We will send you an email tomorrow with some links to a few of the things we talked about today. And if anyone has any last minute questions, feel free to share. And if not, I want to thank Russ and Greg and Paul for joining us, and thank all of you for taking the time to be here tonight. We appreciate it. I know these events aren't quite as awesome as they may be if we could see each other in person, but we're so glad to host them and so glad to see so many great gorillas. So yeah. I'll leave you with, if everyone will unmute themselves here, we'll give this a whirl. We like to sign off with kind of our saying here. So once a gorilla,
always a gorilla.
Gorilla.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it all.
Seeing everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Come see us.